Hi everybody, I'm Corina. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My Facebook page is Corina Stefan Astrology, and the website where you can book a reading with me is www.corinastefanastrology.com. On October 19th at 12:12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, the Libra new moon at almost 27 degrees is a very special cosmic moment that delivers at our doors massive, shocking revelations and radical changes of perception about our relationships. Under the revolutionary, liberating and rebellious effect of planet Uranus, which is perfectly locked into this new moon's chart through that 180-degree angle with the Sun and the Moon in Libra, our minds become enlightened. The corners that were previously cloaked in darkness and confusion get into the spotlight. We thus free ourselves from ignorance and limitations, just like the sky becomes serene after a storm and gradually clears any clouds. It's almost as if a gigantic cosmic light bulb gets switched on, bringing clarification to all that our mind could not previously grasp. Uranus touches the top of our heads with its electrifying magic wand, fully loaded with knowledge pouring down on us directly from the future. We are being shown what kind of solutions we need in order to get to the next level of self-actualization and happiness in our partnerships. It's like a math teacher who can show us in very simple steps how to solve a pretty complicated equation. Uranus reshapes our mind by taking us into a completely new direction, that thinking outside of the box, opening us up to possibilities that we have never thought of as real. Uranus is positioned at the very end of Aries, a sign that is intimately connected with authenticity and with that irresistible impulse to assert our needs in a frank, in a direct and prompt way so that we make sure that we survive. In this chart, Uranus applies pressure with his cosmic finger straight onto the painful spot of relationships, that Libra energy, unveiling the mysteries of any relationship controversy. His visionary finger points inwards, deep within us, highlighting again and again in quite electric and shocking tones that every relationship in the outside world begins with the relationship we have with ourselves. If the foundation of this me, myself and I relationship is built from very solid bricks, each inscripted with solid values like love, self-appreciation, trust, respect, authenticity, self-worth, gentleness, admiration, autonomy, prosperity, acceptance, forgiveness, beauty, validation, and so on, then for sure I am going to resonate in the outside world with a partner who's going to reflect and reconfirm the message of all those bricks that I am built from. If my love story with myself is built on fear, insecurity, obsessive caretaking of others, denial, repression, sacrifice, giving up, self-delusion, dependency, lack or imperfection, and so on, then again my partner is going to faithfully reflect those set components of my inner being. The sign hosting this new moon, Libra, is essentially defined by this function of the mirror, because Libra symbolizes all the persons with whom we create intimacy through a romantic or business partnership. Libra is also the sign of justice and harmony and represents all those who work with the law, with the truth, the beauty and the perfection of proportions, like judges or therapists or artists. This is the reason why if one has threats, fears or ugly trauma tattooed on the wall of their being, all their partnerships are going to reflect this dissonant existential graffiti, as Libra energy is an energy of truth. Libra energy could never comply with a different cosmic law or principle other than truth, because it has been intentionally calibrated to provide a faithful reflection of reality, no matter how deep that truth might be hidden. This is the reason why the goddess Fortuna, often associated with the sign of Libra, is depicted blindfolded or blind, which means she is bound by impartiality and incapable of taking sides with any of the parties involved. The next 28 days of this lunar cycle are therefore an immense opportunity for us to look at our relationships from a new angle, fully embracing the responsibility for our creation, conscious but most of the time unconscious. All that works or is on the other hand stuck in our partnerships originates in our childhood conditioning. If we were exposed at a very young age to dysfunctional patterns in the relationship of our parents, like conflict, domination, suppression of needs or worth, physical, emotional or mental abuse, neglect, betrayal or restriction, we carry no guilt whatsoever for having absorbed all of that like a sponge. It simply couldn't have been different for us. The child is not cognitively endowed with ethical or moral categories during the first years of life, and because of this perceives all that happens in his immediate environment as normal. The child could not even conceive of a different side of the story or of a different possibility. His parents are his only door into life. Unfortunately, the child has no selective filters or critical thinking to warn them that if daddy, for example, left mommy, the loss and the suffering and the abandonment and relational void that the child feels coming from mommy is not something normal or desirable in his future relationships as an adult. So the child is very much at the mercy of family circumstances and will most likely recreate the relational patterns he has absorbed during his childhood. But as adults, we have options and we have this privilege to detach from the past, rewriting our story, reinventing ourselves by rising from our ashes and turmoil. And exactly this is the message of this Libra new moon. If we desire more harmony, fairness, fulfillment and self-realization in our relationships, we need to clear our beings of all the emotional and mental programs that resist well-being, that lead to blocks or to self-sabotage. This involves us examining our own beliefs about relationships in a highly neutral and objective way, as if they were rather exotic animals from a distant planet and not something by which we've become accustomed or used to define our identities. So you can begin this self-examination with a very simple but crucial question. What do I think about relationships? By making a list with all your beliefs and ideas about relationships, you might be surprised to stumble upon some rigid, dangerous, and toxic ones. Those usually show up their ugly faces only when plucked off from the mind and laid down on the white page of a diary, which makes them appear like dead items in an insectarium. Other powerful questions that you can meditate on during the next 28 days of this lunar cycle are: what would my ideal couple relationship look like? How can I recognize my soulmate? What automatic reactions and behaviors do I resort to in order to offer love and support in my relationship? What does a win-win situation look like for me when it comes to my romantic life? What am I willing to sacrifice in order to achieve a higher good for all the parties involved in a relationship? What relationships need to be carefully examined and even removed from my life as they don't allow me to be myself? How does conflict avoidance manifest in my relationship for the sake of some apparent harmony or the delaying of radical decisions? What do I absolutely adore in my partner and what do I hate about them? The very same qualities and weaknesses lie within me, but at a lower intensity, which makes them really hard to notice. As this Libra new moon conjuncts Jupiter in Scorpio, and this transit has recently started on October 10th, it's really worth considering a deeper commitment in your partnerships, as this will most likely have a positive impact on the emotional intimacy. Jupiter in Scorpio has powerfully activated this theme of emotional and physical intimacy, encouraging us to go deeper within ourselves, to release any fears, all traumas, insecurities, obsessions or phobias that interfere with our happiness in relationships. This new lunar cycle is a great opportunity to meditate on exactly what we don't dare to share with our partners for fear of rejection or for fear of abandonment. Jupiter is a symbol of opportunities of growth and personal expansion, and because it will remain in Scorpio until November 2018, those opportunities are to be found only by drilling deep within, in the most profound depths of our passionate fusion with another being. The more fears or artificial roles that we are going to release, the more chances to prosperity our partnership stands. This process is similar to that of pampering the roots of a tree, for example, by making sure it gets enough water, enough nutrients, and that there are no parasites to attack it from the underground. If the roots are protected from danger and parasites, then the crown for sure is going to be rich, and the shiny red apples will enchant the senses. This conjunction between Jupiter in Scorpio and the new moon in Libra shows that if we desire to have a rich crop in our relationships, we need to start drilling very deep within ourselves and clear our emotional roots from any parasites. The T-square that is formed by Mars in Virgo opposing Chiron in Pisces and both squaring Saturn in Sagittarius is an invitation to really slow down during the next 28 days. Tame your impulses and tame the need to act now, as impatience is right now on the cosmic list with fears that need healing. A cautious, immature, and well-informed approach is going to provide the best results. Make sure to check all the steps in a project before taking action. Rush is not a proof of impetuous courage this month. It rather translates fear, insecurity, and a lack of faith in divine timing, which is perfect no matter what our perceptions might try to convince us of. Thank you, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.